सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल डिफेसिस को और दबाइए बेल बटन को ताकि आपको मिल सके हमारी वीडियोस की अपडेट सबसे पहले।
Saudi Arabia has halted the provision of oil on loan for Pakistan after the Imran Khan government threatened to split the Organization of Islamic Countries over Kashmir. Hit by a severe economic crisis, Pakistan had borrowed a $6.2 billion loan from Saudi Arabia in 2018. The loan package included a provision under which Saudi Arabia granted Pakistan $3.2 billion worth of oil, a year on deferred payments. Pakistani media on Saturday said that the provision meant for Islamabad expired 2 months ago and has not been renewed by Riyadh. Instead, Islamabad has prematurely returned $1 billion Saudi loan, 4 months ahead of the repayment period, the Express Tribune said, quoting sources and Sajid Qazi, the spokesperson of the Petroleum Division. Recently, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi during a talk show on a news channel had threatened that if the Organization of Islamic Countries headed by Saudi Arabia did not convene a foreign ministers' meeting on Kashmir, Prime Minister Imran Khan would hold it on his own with his allies among the Islamic countries. If you cannot convene it, then I'll be compelled to ask Prime Minister Imran Khan to call a meeting of the Islamic countries that are ready to stand with us on the issue of Kashmir, he had threatened on ARI news channel. The Organization of Islamic Countries, the biggest bloc of Islamic countries in the world, has repeatedly declined Islamabad's several requests to hold a meeting on Indian Kashmir, a region which Pakistan Army attempted to invade 4 times in the last 7 decades and where it has been waging a proxy war against India for last 3 decades. Since August 2019, when India revoked the special status of the Jammu and Kashmir state and brought it directly under the control of the central government by bifurcating it into 2 union territories, the Imran Khan government has been seeking the support of the 57-member OIC over the issue in Pakistan's favor. One of the major reasons for Organization of Islamic Countries' lack of support for Pakistan has been Riyadh's displeasure with Islamabad's proximity with Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who nurtures the ambition of replacing Saudi Arabia as leader of all the Sunni Islamic countries. The army is now undertaking a major study headed by a senior LT general on advanced niche and disruptive warfare technologies, which range from drone swarms, robotics, lasers and loiter munitions to artificial intelligence, big data analysis and algorithmic warfare. Sources on Friday said the aim of the holistic study, which comes amidst the ongoing military confrontation in eastern LAC with China, is to bolster the conventional warfighting capabilities of the 13-lakh-strong army as well as prepare for non-kinetic and non-combat warfare in the years ahead. China, of course, has been assiduously working to develop futuristic warfare technologies, like artificial intelligence-powered lethal autonomous weapon systems, towards its overall endeavor to usher in a major revolution in military affairs, RMA, with Chinese characteristics. Indian Army's new land warfare doctrine in 2018 had stressed the need to sharpen the entire warfighting strategy, ranging from creation of agile integrated battle groups, IBGs, and expansive cyber warfare capabilities, to induction plans for launch-on-demand microsatellites, directed energy weapons like lasers, AI, robotics, and the like. The new IBGs, after a similar study, have already started to take initial shape as self-contained fighting formations that can mobilize fast and hit hard. Each with around 5,000 soldiers and a varying mix of infantry, tanks, artillery, air defense, signals, and engineers, the IBGs were wargamed in exercises on both the western and eastern fronts last year, as was earlier reported by Times of India. Technology will also be the key driver in future wars. The new study, which is headed by one of the 7 army commanders, will recommend the roadmap for inductions with timelines, along with an overall cost-benefit analysis being done for each disruptive technology, said a source. The study incorporates artificial intelligence, remotely piloted aerial systems, drone swarms, big data analysis, blockchain technology, algorithmic warfare, Internet of Things, virtual reality, augmented reality, hypersonic-enabled long-range precision firing systems, additive manufacturing, biomaterial-infused invisibility cloaks, exoskeleton systems, liquid armor, quantum computing, robotics, directed energy weapons, loiter and smart munitions, among others. In show of confidence, 2 prototypes of the light combat helicopter developed by state-owned Hindustan Aeronautics Limited were seen deployed at world's highest airstrip Dulat Begoldi in eastern Ladakh near China border and pictured with Vice Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal H.S. Arora, who also undertook a sortie on the light combat helicopter in the Ladakh sector during a visit to review operational preparedness in the theater. Both prototypes of the light combat helicopter were moved from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited headquarters in Bangalore to Ladakh sector to aid combat sorties performed by Apache attack helicopters in the sector due to rising military tension with China. Both prototypes light combat helicopter is armed with 20mm M621 cannon and 70mm rockets. Indian Army Air Corps is set to place an order for 10 limited series production light combat helicopter and IAF for 5 limited series production light combat helicopter by end of this year. Army Air Corps plans to order 114 light combat helicopter and IAF 65 light combat helicopter once 15 limited series production light combat helicopter are handed over to Army Air Corps and Indian Air Force by 2022. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, in anticipation of the order for the 15 limited series production light combat helicopter, has manufactured 5 fuselages already and will begin assembly when the contract is inked by end of this year. Sources close to idrw.org have informed that since most of the flight trials have been completed, it was decided that it will be pushed to forward areas. Light combat helicopter has been specifically designed to fight at high altitude forward airstrips like Dulat Beg Oldi, and it will also be used to see the coordination between light combat helicopter and Apache attack helicopters. Bangladesh's ties with India and China should not be compared as they stand on different perspectives, Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Momin said on Saturday, describing Dhaka's relationship with New Delhi as historic and rock-solid, which cannot be hindered by anything. Mr. Momin's remarks came after he visited a memorial complex at western Meherpur bordering India to pay tributes to the 1971 Liberation War martyrs. "We must not compare the relationships from an identical standpoint," he told reporters. "Our ties with India are historic, rock-solid. It is a blood relation, while economic issues mainly shaped our relations with China," Mr. Momin said. "Our victory is India's victory. Our development is India's development, nothing can hinder this, Bangladesh-India, relation." The minister's comments came in response to questions about Dhaka's ties with New Delhi and Beijing against the backdrop of border tensions between Bangladesh's two giant neighbours. Mr. Momin called the current Dhaka-New Delhi relations tremendously good and said the two countries were set to celebrate jointly next year Bangladesh's 50th anniversary of independence. He said Bangladesh and India resolved major bilateral matters like land and maritime boundaries and security issues amicably while attaining progress on water sharing. Turkey and Pakistan have grouped together to take on India through their Kashmir campaign, as Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was one of the first leaders to back Pakistan's position on abrogation of Article 370. Turkey also raised the Kashmir issue in the United Nations General Assembly in September 2019. Raising the Kashmir issue in collaboration is mutually beneficial for both the countries, as it would help Pakistan to strengthen its position on Kashmir at the global fora and benefit the desperation of Erdogan to become the undisputed caliph of the Muslim Ummah. The Turkish support to Pakistan's global campaign against India on Kashmir and Hindutva shall also elevate and enhance Erdogan's position amongst the South Asian Muslims, the population on which he is banking to claim the leadership of the Islamic world. Besides the issuing statements by the president, parliamentarians, and other leaders, the Turkish institutions have played a super active role in creating the anti-India narrative on Kashmir. Amongst institutional entities, Turkish educational institutions have been leading the Turkish efforts to further anti-India agenda, which have become places of convergence of anti-India elements. Due to Turkey-Pakistan bonhomie, anti-India events are being organized in Turkish universities to give the campaign legitimacy for the past 1 year. These events are organized in collaboration of the Pakistani mission in Turkey, Pakistan-sponsored NGOs and Pakistani proxies. More than 30 big and small conferences and seminars on Kashmir have been organized in Turkish universities since August 5, 2019. The ISI proxy and Secretary-General of World Kashmir Forum Ghulam Nabi Fai attended around half a dozen events. Whereas, Pakistani ambassador to Turkey Siras Sajid Qazi was seen attending several such events. While it continues to engage India militarily and diplomatically, China has clandestinely ramped up the supply of critical surveillance equipment to Pakistan, which illustrates how the two countries are collaborating when it comes to tackling India. In a recent development, China has supplied at least 100 pieces of DJI surveillance drones, which the Pakistan military will be deploying at its naval assets, to monitor enemy, Indian, ship movements. Dezhong Innovations or DJI is based in Shenzhen, Guangdong, Southeast China, and is known for producing high-quality surveillance drones. This development, as per sources who are monitoring the situation, has come even as Indian Navy had recently increased the deployment of its assets that are under the Eastern and Western Naval Commands, in the Indian Ocean region to preempt any show of might by the Chinese Navy. The inputs that will be collected by these drones will be more useful to the Chinese Navy than the Pakistani Navy, and we expect that these images will be shared with the Chinese agencies by Pakistan. The supply of such drones has happened in the past too, but that was in a much smaller number. This time, the number of drones that they have been given is significant. This is a great example to understand China's intent and how China is looking at the present situation vis-a-vis India, an official said. In 2015, China had given 5 systems of Wing-Lung 1 armed UAV to Pakistan. However, the present supply of surveillance drones, that too in such large numbers, at a critical time like this when India and China are witnessing their worst phase of bilateral relationship in decades, has alarmed officials. As per intelligence sources, at least 2 serving officials of ISI were stationed in Beijing before the recent India-China tensions, and this number has likely been increased in the past few months to augment the efforts of the Chinese military strategists.